G'day viewers, my name's Graeme Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do.
Alright folks, well we are in Yowie Bay today in the south section of Sydney, or south of Sydney, and we are with a sculptor, a gentleman called Keith Chidzey. Keith, welcome to the show.
Pleasure.
Keith, multiple different disciplines as far as his work is concerned. He does bronzes. I'll just grab this guy here. Very, very cool. As you can see, it's a bronze skull that he's actually separated all the bones in the head of. Does some amazing bronze stuff. He also works in timber as well, and also glass as well. So, but your original foray into the world was as a dentist.
Yeah, 20 years worth.
20 years as a dentist, probing into people's mouths. Using drills, which you're going to be doing today anyway.
A lot of crossover, and there was a lot of the stuff I'm actually directly still using.
That's amazing. And it was in 2001 that you damaged your wrist?
Yeah, the cartilage and ligament.
Yeah. Pulling out the tooth from an 84-year-old lady, and he damaged his wrist. Yeah. But literally from there, that was an awakening for you as far as your creativity was concerned.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get back and do some more art stuff again, but owning a business, you just haven't got a chance of doing it.
Yeah.
And away we go. I went back and did undergraduate study in painting and drawing, and then jumped to sculpture department. And when I really got my teeth into, sorry, bad pun, the sculpture side, I got to do a research masters.
Okay.
That was about fire, and part of that I started using gunpowder to make work.
Yeah, but a lot of what you do is about installation as well. It's about the moment, creating the moment, photographing it, and then leaving it as it is. But as I said, we're going to do a few different things today. You've prepared some really interesting stuff for us. Scrubby mallee, is that correct?
Curly mallee.
Curly mallee. Now this is pretty rare timber by any means.
Yeah, there's only one stand in New South Wales, and I've been fortunate enough through connections with my uni days to be given access to it. And it comes up as a beautiful timber to carve. I love Tasmanian timbers. They're so nice, and particularly the Huon is just like carving soap. And
it's beautiful.
Beautiful, clean timber, and it's so much fun.
So what you've already done is you just made up a little maquette, which you mostly do.
Normally I draw things out, and then just an idea. Sometimes I draw it in my head, and just put a rough shape together. It is certainly nothing fancy or lovely of where I want to go, and hopefully that will be coming out of that somewhere. But the big part is the conversation I have with the timber. Because I really don't know what's hiding inside the timber until it's all well and good to have an idea. It tells me.
You just got to chip away the parts that you don't need, and there it is. I'm going to step out of shot. There's going to be a little bit of noise in this, so while the noise is going on, won't be a lot of conversation, but it'll be fascinating to see what Keith does. We'll go over these little bits and pieces today, but you're going to see some really, really great stuff. Very talented man, very creative man, and a really funny guy too.
Nah.
I'll get out of here. Thanks very much, guys. Okay, Keith, well, you've got a grinder there that looks quite intimidating. It's got basically teeth on it, like big teeth.
Very big teeth.
What are you going to do now? You're going to strip all this bark off the outside, eh?
Yeah, because I really don't know what's underneath and what good timber's there, what good timber's not. Got to get rid of all this junky stuff out of the road, and then I can assess how much the maquette can actually be put into place.
Okay, let's have a look at it then. Start that beast up. Yes, always safety precautions. So glasses, mask, and earplugs. right, Keith, now you're really looking for the best part of this timber, and there's still a whole bunch of stuff that you've got to rip off. What are you going to do now?
Basically, some of the timber is nice and loose, so I'll be just levering that off and let it natural fault lines take it off. I'll only be concentrating for today on one side of it, just so you can see what's happening and what's not happening.
Okay.
So,
good idea.
See what happens.
Very hands-on sculpture.
Small hammer doesn't work, get a bigger hammer.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting an idea of what is useful and what is not useful around that side. Some parts of it, parts up here, I'm really happy, which I'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. I love the beauty of nature.
Yeah.
We've done a heck of a job of screwing the whole place up, and that motivates me a lot to express that through my work. So if I can use natural processes, just the natural shape of things, to come out and about, hey, that's what I can do. Time to make noise again.
Okay. Okay, Keith. Well, you've got this beautiful colour in this timber here. Looks fantastic, but basically from what I see, you're going to have to strip most of this bark all the way off.
Correct.
Yeah.
Most of it is structurally poor.
Yeah.
Next step though is to start smoothing it up and planing it down.
All right, well I'll go and sit down again. We're just going to see a little method where you smooth this timber right off, and then we might move on to something else after that.
Sounds
good. Show the different processes that Keith's actually put together today, and the different timbers. It's really interesting. I'll go and sit down. All right, Keith, from here you'd probably just sand all of that right down until you get down to that red rosewood there.
Correct. That'll end up being really smooth and gentle, but showing the character of the timber through it.
And before we move on, I wanted to bring up some of your other works, because you're really diverse and you deal in stone, bronze, wood, glass. I mean, a number of different things to make your sculptures, but you've got one called Gravity of Situ, which is a rock apple with bronze leaves. And first time I looked at that, I just thought that that's got to be Sydney sandstone.
Correct.
Sort of, yeah.
Got it from the backyard.
So also I'd like you to explain the piece that you've got called Home Among the Gum Trees, which is actually a sculpture and an installation at the same time. That's obviously got a social comment for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, that was part of a collaboration show I did with a lovely artist named Jackie Benny, who we're both very passionate about what was happening and still is happening with the asylum seeker issue in Australia, and also the hands I find are a recurring element within my work. So it was a really poignant piece.
And also, as far as statements or social statements are concerned, tell me about the piece John 21, which is out of tallow wood and bronze. Very powerful piece.
Yeah, that was commission work for Magdalen High School out at Narellan, and they wanted a depiction of Mary, and I put it up that it should have a strong, forceful example for the kids.
Right, so from here we're going to move on to some of the other pieces that you're doing, so you can demonstrate to us your amazing skills with all of these different natural mediums. And we've got,
well, this
pretty
one
obvious what it is.
Has been rough cut up already, and as you can see, it's the shape of an anchor. The marquette for that I made previously, which I've still got to do some finalising with.
Yeah.
That, and also this chain that's made out of a single piece. What this will end up being is a chain out of this piece of timber will be attached to the anchor. They're eventually highly polished and oiled up.
So what type of timber is that?
Huon pine.
Huon pine. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I love working in Huon. I've got a good relationship with the sawmills down in Tasmania, and I can source some really nice timber.
And you'll just simply work away at that, cutting sections out?
Yep. So little by little, it'll be taking shape. That'll probably take me at least 2 months to get that one finished.
And is this a commission for somebody?
No,
it's not. Okay.
It's what I want to do. Okay. A lot of the work I do is what is in my head wanting to come out, and I've got full of ideas. Even though, yes, commission work I would love to do more and more of.
And even speaking of the Huon pine that you use, you've got one where it's called Huon Song.
Correct.
And you've actually included the Huon timber, and you've got glass in there.
Yes, I love working mixed media, and it just takes it to a whole another level, I find.
And you've also got another gorgeous piece of an egret, I would say, in water, but you've actually got 3 different natural mediums in there. It's called Mystery Box, timber, bronze and glass. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the bird is an egret from out in the Western Districts of New South Wales. Amazing amount of time you find water birds in arid regions. I just get fascinated by that. That's out of bronze. Then the water surface is slumped glass, which we cast down in Tasmania, at Powhatan, where I love to go to. The base of it is a Tassie eucalypt, and the little surprise fishing package that the bird has is the bit of Huon pine.
That's fantastic.
It's actually an important structural element, that one. So.
And you've got another piece which has got a lot of work in it. It's a beautiful piece of work. It's called Valiant, and I think you've got glass and bronze and timber in there. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, the last couple of years I've been basing a lot of my work around research into St Francis of Assisi, and particularly his environmental concerns and social the way his attitude is to what we now call social justice things. And Valiant was a direct reference to his early years when he was going to, like all kids at that stage, brought up for heroic wars and righteous wars, and he went off to war twice and was an abject failure at it. And then, but later on in life, after he had gone into his mission field, he got given safe passage through the Crusades to have a one-on-one meeting with the Saracen leader. So the sword of the spirit, the sword of his thing, which is represented by the glass sword, became much, much more powerful than a metal sword. And just a useless piece of curiosity, he, according to some people, was the founder of the Renaissance, because his attitude to beauty and nature changed everyone's heads around.
And also there's another piece that you did called Lens, which was an installation, but you did that in Assisi in Italy while you were doing some research on St Francis.
And I was fortunate enough to secure a residency there for a month to further my research into St Francis. And at the end of towards the end of that month, it was like this beautiful bubble that we're in this lovely environment, and I was not looking forward to getting back into all the mad population in Rome, and it was just like looking at a little lens through the world. I've been dying to do a piece similar to Andy Goldsworthy's work, who's one of my heroes in land art, and this just came together just nicely. I was just looking at this lens, this little opening to the real world away from where we were. Didn't want to go. I wanted to stay there.
Obviously a beautiful place as well, without a doubt.
Oh, completely. I was able to complete 7 works in total while I was there, and using natural timbers that were on site and around the area. It's an inspiring piece, that one.
Okay, well, you've got a commission piece that you're going to show us some methodology on as well. We'll have to get rid of the anchor. And now, there's obviously a whole process that you go through with all these fantastic timbers that you use. This is hew and pine?
Hew and pine.
Yeah.
Generally it comes like that, and that's what these pieces came at.
Yeah.
Then I cleaned it up using same process as what I saw earlier to that one. And then we're in, this piece is going to Egypt for the Retired Policemen's Association.
Oh, okay.
They're doing an exchange visit over there and wants their shields in Australian timber.
That's fantastic.
And there'll be 2 or 3 of those. That's my working drawing for it.
Yep.
And I'll be just slowly working away at it.
Yeah, but you do a lot of commissions. I mean, there's people that come out of the woodwork to
I
get
would
your work.
love to do more.
You really like doing that?
Oh yeah. I love seeing, helping people realise their dreams and seeing it come to an idea be made to something they love and enjoy and get part of.
And the timbers that you use are just, I mean, you can't smell it obviously on the TV, but the smells are fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, hew and pine has an individual smell by itself, but each timber, just the odour permeates the area and it's just wonderful. And
there's also this wonderful transition of when you were a dentist, is that the tools that you had of your trade then are still the ones that you're using now as a sculptor. Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a wonderful transition because it was a very painful accident that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been able to use the tools and techniques that I've been using for 20 years as a dentist, making dentures, making inlays, and use them directly on the timber.
Fantastic.
And it's some of the exact equipment that I used to use is still sitting there.
Wonderful. Okay, so where do we go from here?
Right, I need to do a bit of rearranging.
Okay.
Graeme, can you come and give me a hand here for a sec?
Sure.
Just shift the table round. And, yep, that'll do. Could you throw those 2 over there, please?
Sure.
And away we go.
So, in your lap all the time, is it?
Pretty well, yeah. Unfortunately, ideally, I'd love to work up on here, but I've got to support my wrist.
Okay.
And I literally cannot do it with the weight of it.
Okay.
So I sit it on there and just doing the emblem. I have to be very accurate.
Yeah. I was going to say, just watching what you do, this would be very meditative, I would think.
It does. Usually I have some music playing.
Yeah.
And I literally get lost in the moment.
I bet. Now, Keith, going from pieces like this to some of the really massive stuff you've done, you did an installation or a land carving called 350.
Yes.
So going from a little Dremel to actually using a grader.
Biggest drawing project I've ever been involved with. It's so much fun. I've been dreaming for years to do something huge out in the desert, and this opportunity came to be lead artist at a satellite art event promoting environmental concerns. And we literally 200 metres long by 90 metres high got to draw in the landscape with a grader, and it was able to be viewed from space.
That's amazing.
It was huge fun.
And a lot of the other stuff that you do as well, as far as your installations is concerned, is that you've got a fascination with fire and ice, particularly fire.
I was fortunate enough to be able to do a research master's in sculpture. Wonderful experience. Secret Spare was a fire fountain where the fire was spilling down the front of an antique chest of drawers.
Interesting stuff, without a doubt. So definitely stretching the bounds of creativity.
All right, that's all I'd like to do on that for the moment. Just want to show you what it's like at the next step when it's all sanded up and it's ready for oiling.
Sounds great. Let's move on to the next part then.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, now once we've actually sanded this down, and this is actually getting on to sealing your work, and this is a demonstration of course, but where do we go from here?
Well, Using the chain that we looked at earlier, that's all been fine sanded and ready to rock and roll. First 3 or 4 coats, I use a thinned mixture of the sealant.
So what is the percentage mixture between those two?
50-50 I use, okay. And that lets it penetrate into the timber. Then I just use pure sealant into it. And the
thinner helps to drag the sealer into the timber?
Correct, okay. Correct. It gets what we call good penetration into it.
Okay, and it's just a normal 1-inch brushing?
Yep.
So how many coats would you put on that?
Of the 50-50 mixture, depending on the job, usually 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Of the final oil, again, depending on the job, usually 4 or 5.
And I also wanted to bring up another piece that you've had, which I think is a stunning piece. It's called the Franciscan. It's a water bowl out of hewn pine and glass.
Franciscan Beauty.
Franciscan Beauty.
It's a reference to St. Francis's basically earthly life and his spiritual life. His earthly body was disease-ridden, malnourished. He was a mess. But he was spiritually that close to God and virtually as perfect as what you could physically have in on the earth.
It's a great message, it really is. It's a beautiful piece of work as well.
Thank you.
Well, we've had an absolutely fascinating day with you, Keith. A very talented man and very driven, I would think, very much not just with your talent, but spiritually as well. There's a great deal of things that you seek in life that have a lot to do with the heart and the soul. And hence the reason I think that you do what you do these days. If you want some beautiful sculpture and carving done from a master carver and sculptor, Keith's the man to come and see. And your website again, Keith, is?
The W's, Chidzey, CHIDZEY.com. And thanks, Graeme. This has been a fantastic day. Sharing this with you is really fun.
Okay guys, another fantastic day with a very talented man. As you can see, one of his beautiful sculptures on the table here. And we've got bronze, we've got timber, and we've got glass. Pretty amazing. Now, if anybody wants to go in and have a look at your work, what's your website again?
The W's, Chidzey, CHIDZEY.com.
Yeah, go on and have a look because Keith has got some absolutely beautiful work in there. Very talented guy. From a dentist to amazing sculptor. That's pretty cool. We've had a great day. This is our last part of this particular journey that we've made, and we're going to head back home again. But if you would like to see more of what we're doing, you can come to colouryourlife.com.au and all of our social networking platforms. Lots of things going on these days. We've got some great things happening in the website, so please come in and have a look. And as I always say, till we meet again, make sure you put some glass and some wood and some bronze and some colour in your life. And we'll see you next time. Bye now, guys. See you now. Bye.